Hello, it's Mary Bartos with the Bartos Group of Premier Plus Realty, and it's December, so it must be our market update. Again, my distinct pleasure to have Cheryl Stokes from New American Funding on as our co-host. I'm just going to go, Cheryl, that you are the co-host of this. You're not a guest anymore. You're just a co-host. And so we're pretty excited because this is the last one we bring to you from this year in 2020. I think a lot of us are ready for this year to go on. Cheryl, what do you think?
2021.
So today is a little bit about what's happening in the future, our future predictions. I might add next week on the 16th, we are going to have 4 panelists that are going to talk about our future predictions for 2021, but this is a little snack taste of what's happening. So Cheryl, without further ado, I got to get some glasses on here and get going on this wonderful side of it. So I'm going to share this. Bear with me for a hot minute. Okay, can you see my screen, Cheryl?
I can see your screen.
Okay, great. So you see housing update on there, right, for December? Correct? Okay, yep. Good. All right, so December 2020, the last one of this year. Thank goodness, I think. So really what we're going to start with is what are the analysts predicting for 2021? Where is this going? And I think we have a lot of great details for you to think through. Now, the S&P Dow Jones Indices Managing Director, Craig Lazara, said recently, housing prices looking backwards were notably, I'm tempted to say, very strong in September. The National Composite Index, NCI, gained 7% relative to its level a year ago. Our 3 monthly readings since June of this year have all shown accelerating growth in home prices, and September's results are quite strong. He just came out with that. Cheryl, what are you seeing in this as it relates to home prices increasing, as this says?
Our reporting agrees. We've had a good, strong 7% appreciation in home prices this year.
Which is amazing. And later we'll talk about what's happening in our market. But in general, this is like phenomenal, a national market. And when you start to look at that, compounded annual price appreciation rate since 1991 and since 2012, it really speaks volumes, and it kind of goes along with that 7%. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So all the numbers are coming in. By the way, this is FHFA HPI, the Keeping Current Matters is quoting here. But what we're trying to show in this price, which again, if 2021, and we're predicting it is the same kind of year, what's going to happen to price? Now, if you look at a historic appreciation, Cheryl, of 3.8% year over year through that and where today is, so roughly $40,000 home in 2000 would be worth about $280,000. And, if you look at that and look at what that should be, here's what's happening. Look, these were the years of the forbearance of foreclosures, yep. Right? In the middle here. And then as you move up, look what happened in today. This is unbelievable.
Yeah, we've had strong appreciation and growth for sure this year.
Unbelievable, right? Historic. Now, as we all learned in economics, you get supply and demand, right? So we have the inventory as the supply, right, is going down. We certainly have, although not on this graph, demand, but look at what's happening to our prices.
Right. Right. We have high demand, low inventory, and so we have higher home prices.
Kind of classic, not no nonsense, kind of, no brainer sort of thing. Cheryl, you want to read this slide?
Oh, sure. Such a frenzy of activity reminiscent of 2006 raises questions about a bubble and the potential for a painful crash. The answer is there's no comparison, and I totally agree with that. Back in 2006, dubious adjustable rate mortgages taxed many buyers' budgets, Some loans didn't even require income documentation. Today, buyers are taking out 30-year fixed rate mortgages. 14 years ago, there were 3.8 million homes listed for sale, and home builders were putting up about 2 million new units. Now, inventory is only about 1.5 million homes, and home builders are underproducing relative to historical averages.
Lawrence Yun from National Association of Realtors, chief economist. Cheryl, talk about this. What do you think?
Well, I completely agree. People are getting 30-year fixed rate mortgages. They're not doing anything, using any of those, what would have been called riskier loan products in the past. They are putting more down payments down. They have higher equity in the homes that they are carrying now. So that risk level is decreased significantly. And they are building wealth through home ownership because they are not upside down in the payments that they're making.
Remember, a couple months ago, we were talking about the percentage of owners that are at a higher than 60% ownership in the home.
Correct.
I mean,
the equity in the property is significantly higher than it used to be.
Unbelievable. And in those years, I mean, because we moved to Florida in about those years, and people were buying 2 and 3 and weren't closing on them. And the speculators were there, like they were talking about, and they didn't have the money to close on it until this other one sold.
Right.
And they were just, going up. These are end user consumers that are buying today. Cheryl, would you agree with that?
Yep. They're end user consumers. They are buying with knowledge. They are buying with the new requirements that we as mortgage companies have to ensure the ability to repay. So it's a much healthier market, I think.
I agree. Totally agree with that. And this next chart really does talk about it, because if you look at the foreclosure crisis here in the red, right?
Mm-hmm.
Roughly around, I don't know, late 6, early 7 through, 10 or 11. Quite honestly, it's, number of months of inventory for sales. Cheryl, we looked at this last month, and it was 3.8 months of inventory.
Yep.
In our own market.
It looks like it's gone down some more.
Right? That little teeny tiny blue thing over here, like, is unbelievable. So, and, kind of going down this path again, a little bit further, Cheryl, talk about this number of mortgages in active forbearance. Isn't it decreasing?
It is decreasing, and CoreLogic is currently saying that month over month, the number of late payments on mortgages is also decreasing. So
Yeah.
Although we had a blip, we had the situation of this year, we are coming out of that, and we're remaining strong, and people are going back to their standard method of paying. They've gotten through the most of the crisis, and we're not seeing that largely weighted foreclosure rate or lack of ability to pay the mortgages.
That is so true. And go ahead and read this from MBA's chief economist, Mike.
Yep.
Tony.
Nearly 2/3 of borrowers who exited forbearance remained current on their payments, repaid their forborne payments, or moved to a payment deferral plan. So they've either paid back what they were in forbearance and paid it in full, or they've entered into a payment plan to get themselves caught up. All of these borrowers have been able to resume or continue their pre-pandemic monthly payments. And that goes to what CoreLogic is saying, because the number of late payments occurring is decreasing.
Yeah, which is quite honestly awesome. Again, the chief economist at Indeed, which, where if you're not familiar, those that are watching us aren't familiar, that's a job site where people search for jobs, and we advertise our own jobs on there. Judd Kolko says, above all, the 2021 outlook hinges on the course of the coronavirus. Okay, we get that. Both the recent virus surge and the election made government emergency relief more likely. Next year, we will also start to show whether 2 of the big pandemic shifts will endure, from services to goods and from in office to remote work. Those two items. Even small shifts in these trends, if permanent, could cause big changes in how businesses hire, how job seekers search, where people live, and how much they earn.
And I would add where they work.
Yeah.
Because if they are working remotely, they might be enlarging their homes. They might need a home office. The way they live in their home and use their home is changing.
You know, it's so well said. I got the chance to listen to a couple of my superstars in other markets. And one of them, Becky Garcia, shout out to Becky Garcia down in Phoenix, said that now people are again in her market, which was primarily secondary market, right? Are starting to look at the gyms and home offices where they didn't need them before.
Right.
You know, and I would say we're seeing that in our market as well.
I think so. People need that space to live within their home more than they did before.
Absolutely. So if we're looking at home price forecasts with a 12-month forecast and a 2021 forecast, very similar, right? They're somewhere between 1.9/2 and 5.9. Zelman, she's bullish. She's at 5.9. Realtor.com is at 5.7. NAR's at 4.5. You know, that's what's happening across the nation. But let's look and see, before we go to our market, Cheryl, what's happening with mortgage rates? I mean, since 15, 16, what does that look like?
Well, they're still at historic lows, and they're even at a historic low year over year. So if people are concerned about affordability and the house prices going up, and can they buy with the house prices increasing, there's something important that they should remember. Although the home prices have increased 1%, mortgage rates have decreased 1%. And what does that mean? So a 7% increase, let's say the home price last year was $327,000. This year it'd be $350,000. That is an increase of 22,000 plus, but the rate's gone down a full percent. So even though your down payment might be a little bit higher, your actual principal and interest payment would be lower on the higher priced house. So that affordability is still there because the rates have remained low. And we're not anticipating that they're going to change significantly in the upcoming year.
Actually, you know, what this is saying by Freddie Mac is that it's going to stay pretty strong through 2021,
Yep.
The same low rates. I mean,
right.
I'm sure everybody has an opinion on that, but I like Freddie Mac's.
Well, yeah, and it's important to explain to people that although the prices have risen that 7%, that doesn't mean that they are priced out of the market, because the opposite conditions of the lower rates actually is making those higher priced homes more affordable than they were a year ago.
Right. So let's kind of think through that. I think what you said is a great segue to what's happening in our area. I mean, do you have something smaller that you want to sell? I just was talking with a client of mine who has a condo and said, should I sell it in this market and buy a house? And, a little bit more expensive. I'm like, absolutely. Cheryl, he's a customer of yours as well. The Couples.
Yeah.
And right. And so, he's thinking through this, like, wow, I could not maybe have an HOA. I could do something a little different. May not be quite on the beach, but a great option. What if you're a first-time home buyer? Is it time to jump in, Cheryl?
Oh, I absolutely think it is, because the rates are lower. And the great news is, if you're a first-time home buyer and you're using an FHA product, the FHA loan limits have increased this year. So you can, as the prices are rising, you can still buy with an FHA loan product in an increased market. You can still utilize their 3.5% down. So for a first-time home buyer, I think there's a lot of opportunity because all the pieces have fallen into place for 2021.
We talked about that moving from a condo smaller to a house, but we have a client that's closing in a week or so that's moving from a house in one area to a beachfront condo. Their dream and desire, right, Cheryl? And higher priced, but what they're able to afford was amazing based on the interest rates.
Exactly.
They never thought they'd be in that dream home.
It's definitely worth it if you're making a consideration of making a move like that, one way or the other, to sit down and speak with someone about how the finances are truly affected, because you might think that you can't afford a higher price. You might think that you can't afford HOA fees, but you really have to look at the big picture, what that looks like in a 30-year mortgage with current rates, and let someone do a financial analysis of what you can and can't do.
Without a doubt. Well, as we kind of bring this section of this together, Southwest Florida markets, the annual prices increases that we've seen from last year in 19, at the end of 19 or December 1st, all the way through the end of November of this year. Look at that by different markets, Cheryl. I mean,
crazy.
Naples is 15.5%, Fort Myers, Marco. I still look at this. This is by data is provided by InfoSpark, so don't shoot the messenger. That's their data. But Marco could shift because maybe the volume, but this is median price increase. And, we have higher luxury, some very luxury homes that could swing it. So does Naples.
Right.
All of the markets here do, but maybe the volume of, number of units is swinging this. But let's assume it's half. It's 15 or 16% increase. Boy, that's a great place to jump in, right?
Yeah, that's a lot. And that's funny you said that, because I was going to say, just cut it in half and it's still amazing, the amount of growth.
Exactly. And then you look at what's happening with new listings, and look at this. Fort Myers has the least number of new listings, followed by, Estero, and then Naples. But, Cheryl, one of the things that we noted yesterday, had a new property went on the market, and I was blown away. Now, some of our markets in Naples and other areas will have multi-offers, and they'll just, kind of blow it out. But here was a lot on Marco Island that had 7 offers on it, Cheryl.
Wow.
And what it ended with, the final price, I was amazed at. So, because of a few things with that. So I say that to folks because we are in a historic seller's market. I've shown this slide before, but at the end of the day, think about it. People are moving to Florida at the tune of 950 from the Northeast a day. We have incredibly low inventory. We have amazingly historic low rates, and that puts us in the sweet spot of that historic seller's market.
Yep.
We don't have enough property to sell right now. So, honestly, if you've thought about selling, now is the time to do, whether you reinvest that into another property, into the market, into going somewhere else, and that's up to you. But the question of, is it time to move? I submit, yeah, it's time.
I think so, because again, markets are somewhat cyclical too. So you need to take advantage of the seller's market while it's here.
Yes.
We don't know what the economy is going to have for us in 2022. So
Right.
If you're really thinking about it, and there's, financial advantage to going ahead and selling and buying, it's definitely worth investigating now and prepping yourself for Q1 and getting into the home that you want, or selling the home that you're in and changing your lifestyle, whether moving up or downsizing.
Absolutely. We've got a couple of questions from Facebook. I see, does it seem like the market is going to keep getting stronger in the new year? Cheryl, what do you think?
I would say yes, for sure.
Yeah. Thumbs up from both of these ladies here. People can buy more house for the least amount of money.
Yes. So your smaller amount of money buys more house.
Absolutely. I think, Cheryl, as our predictions, my predictions for 2021, based on what I'm seeing with the analysts, looking at the history, looking at our market, oh my gosh, girlfriend, your hair's going to blow back because you thought you might take a rest somewhere this year in 2020. Ain't gonna happen.
Nope. We're going to be busy.
We're going to be busy. And you know what? More importantly, you're going to come and find your piece of paradise of where you want to be. Your kids may be grown, your grandkids may be not spending as much time with you, or due to COVID, you realize, where do I really want to be? Or I can work from home, or I can do all these things. That will drive this market in a time that's never happened before. 20,000 boomers have been retiring for the last 10 years. Guess what? 20,000 more are retiring in the next 10 years. We thought this wave was going to happen before, Cheryl, and now it's here.
It's
right?
here. It's definitely here, and I don't think it's going to slow down anytime soon.
So to my sellers out there, to folks that are sitting on a house or a piece of land or a condo or whatever you're sitting on, and you're not using it, you want to put the money somewhere else, you want to do something different with it, you want to buy up, buy down, change that, the time to sell is now. Cheryl?
And I would say to the buyers out there who really are unsure of what they can or can't do, it's time to get a financial analysis and find out what your options really are, because there are many for everybody.
That's a great point. Cheryl, why don't we put a link below to how they can reach you for that financial analysis? And they can either reach out. I'm throwing this to you live, Cheryl. So I know you haven't thought through this. God, yeah, I know you love me, Cheryl.
Yes, I do. So they can call me on my cell phone, 207-249-9933, or they can do a quick online application, www.financinginfla.com. That application comes straight to me. I'll call them back and we'll go through all of their options, and I can give them an evaluation immediately.
Awesome. We'll put that link below. We have one last person. Deidre McClain says, financial advisors are saying, put your money in real estate now. I love that thought. I think we should close on that one, Cheryl. What do you think?
It's a safe value. I think so.
Until we see you again, I'm Mary Bartos with Bartos Group of Premier Plus Realty, and this is
Cheryl Stokes, New American Funding.
And we look forward to seeing you next month. But before then, we're going to have a 2021 special edition next week. So look for that out there, because we're going to have some other guests on with us to talk about what they see in 2021. And we can't wait to see you here in the new year. Ciao.